There are only two devices that you should be looking into if you're planning on getting yourself a handheld PC. The Asus ROG Ally and the Lenovo Legion Go. Proton is hot garbage, so in my opinion, just avoid the Steam Deck. You don't need it, trust me. As of right now, I actually own those both systems, but at the end of the video, I will be getting rid of one of them. So yeah, definitely stick around for the end of the video. That way you can see which device I personally chose to stick with, and maybe that might help you make up your mind about which one of these devices is best for you. This is actually going to be a pretty tough decision to make, and also even just filming this video was pretty tough because I actually love both of these handhelds. They're both amazing at what they do, but they both have separate use cases that makes one better than the other and vice versa. Now, I had owned a Steam Deck for about a year or so, and after my poor experience with the operating system, I decided to sell it. After a 4-month break, I decided to re-spark my love for handheld PCs, and I actually bought myself the Lenovo Legion Go. And let me tell you, once I experienced the true joys of what Windows PC gaming handheld, oh my gosh, that's such a long sentence. Once I experienced how great a device that was running on Windows was, I kind of started getting like that FOMO of like, dude, like the Ally's been out for quite a couple of months now, like is that better? Because that's also Windows based. So I went out and bought myself the ROG Ally as well. Yeah, my bank is not happy with me, I'll tell you that much. One of the things that actually makes comparing these two devices very easy is that internally, as far as specs goes, they have the same processor. So that makes it very easy. And honestly, at that point, it really just comes down to how well optimized these processors are by software, aka the companies that made the devices, to get the most out of that power inside of the device. So as far as getting into the super nitty gritty, if you inject your DNA into the BIOS and you change it and you hook it to your core processor, it's not going to be one of those videos. I'm not going to get too techie into it because I'll probably sound like an idiot. So this is more of like an actual use case scenario and how a real person uses it. One thing you should know is that basically these two devices can almost run anything you throw at them. Let me tell you something, the Steam Deck can't do that. People are going to hate me in the comments, watch. In one area where the Lenovo Legion Go seems to just be top tier is literally as far as build quality. It's kind of hard to tell through photos or video, but once you have this device in your hands, this thing feels amazing. You can definitely feel that you're buying a high quality premium item, and that is how a handheld PC should feel like because they're not cheap. From the screen, the thumbsticks, the buttons, yes, all the buttons, to even the fan vents. The way this thing is designed is a little bit more simple. I do give it that, but it kind of captures a little bit more of that elegant. You know, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So I think that's kind of what they were going for this console. Except for the buttons. They were like, we're not gonna simplify new buttons, guys. There's a lot of buttons. I'll just say buttons one more time, buttons. Now, this does hurt to say, but the ROG Ally, the quality is very lacking in my opinion. It definitely feels like a cheaper device. It almost feels like Asus just got a bunch of old Xbox 360 controllers and melted those down to make the casing for the ROG Ally. Yeah, I would have loved to seen Asus put a little bit more of that money into making the device feel like a quality product, but I mean, just a little. And one of my biggest gripes with the Ally is definitely the thumbsticks. I kind of hate them. Now, I know I'm just being a little bit picky about this one, but once you place your thumb on top of the actual thumbstick, it feels like it has a little bit of give. Like any direction you pointed, the thing kind of just moved. It's just wiggle. It just wiggles for no reason. Like, why? It just feels like that would kind of lead to some problems. Either the internals breaking or just dust getting in there and just messing everything up. So that is one thing that I wish was done better on the device itself. No, I don't know if you heard, but I'm pretty big. A huge thing to be considered between these two devices are the size differences. Oh, but Kevo, it's not the size of the handheld, it's the motion of the thumbsticks. I mean, true, but come on, the Lenovo Legion Go is coming in with an 8.8 screen. This thing is massive. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it, but at a certain point, it feels like I'm just playing with a giant TV in front of my face. I kind of love it though. It's a massive device, and this thing is freaking heavy. I mean, come on, the handheld is almost 2 freaking pounds. I cannot go for more than an hour and a half without having to put the console down or just to even warm up my wrist and kind of just like, you know, get some blood circulation going on there. This thing just, it's a hassle to play in handheld. Now, obviously this can all be avoided by playing it on tabletop mode, but I like having the option of using tabletop. I don't want to feel forced to use it just because if I don't put it down, my wrists are gonna break off, and that to me kind of sucks. Another thing that I really dislike about the Legion Go is that I always find myself holding it in a very odd way. The main reason being that since there are so many buttons on the actual device, like on the grip, when I hold it, I find myself using the bottom of my palms to kind of like prop it up almost, because I kind of feel like if I hold it normally, I'm gonna accidentally mispress something just because of the amount of buttons that are going on in that thing. It just makes for a very uncomfortable handheld experience. Now, obviously, since the ROG Ally does have a smaller screen, that does give it a nice little benefit of it being a smaller device, and therefore I think it kind of makes it way more portable. For both of these devices, in order for me to get the best battery life and performance, I usually end up setting them both at 800p. Now, the scaling on the Legion Go allows that 800p to kind of literally be scaled down by half, so the math is perfect there, so it really looks good even though you're only playing it at 800p. With the ROG Ally, since it is a smaller screen, it kind of works better for it just because it's able to hide a lot of the imperfections of running a game on such low settings. And for that reason alone, the image just looks crispier, and I actually prefer how games look on the ROG Ally instead of the Legion Go. Now, the one benefit about being made out of high-grade takeout styrofoam box material is that the ROG Ally is super light. Now, as far as design, I'm not the biggest fan of how the ROG Ally looks like, but it is super comfortable and it provides a really pleasant handheld experience. This handheld PC is super ergonomic and it just feels so right just to hold it. It's awesome actually. I can definitely spend hours holding the ROG Ally without having any need to put it down to rest my wrist as I would with my Legion Go. Another little gripe that I do have with the Ally is that it only has 2 back buttons. I think I'm just spoiled from like pro controllers like the Steam Deck. Also, like at this point, I think if you're going to be releasing a handheld PC, it should at least come with 4 back buttons. Don't go too crazy like the Legion Go and put like 16 things going on back there, but 2, it's not enough, honestly. Yeah, am I just crazy? Like, what are your guys' opinion on back buttons? I don't know, like if you have an Ally yourself, like is that enough? Is that enough? I don't know. Regardless, drop some comments down below, guys. I would really love to hear what you guys think on the whole back paddle / button situation. Now, one area that I did not expect the ROG Ally to be so good in was definitely the speakers. The Ally's front-facing speakers have to be some of the best in the game, at least some of the best that I've ever experienced. I love the Lenovo Legion Go, but the speakers on that are just hot garbage. Like, they suck. Even at full blast, these things are super hard to hear. And it's definitely a combination of the fans sounding like jet engines, so at that point, you can't really hear what's happening, and it doesn't help out that the speakers on it are top-facing, so they're shooting the sounds up instead of towards you, and it's like, dude, my ears aren't over here over the console. Like, what are we doing here? Now, this just leads me to one of my biggest points that I think is definitely something that needs to be improved in the handheld PC market, is how to handle thermals. Now, one of my concerns for the Legion Go is that despite the fact that these fans tend to get super loud and they're obviously pushing out a lot of hot air, is that behind the top left corner of the device, that area gets like literally piping hot, like even to the touch. Like, it's uncomfortable to leave your like fingers or anything there for more than like 2 to 3 seconds because you feel that heat. The biggest reason why it's concerning is because that area where it gets super hot is exactly where the micro SD card slot is at. Now, I personally don't use a micro SD card in my Legion Go because I bought the version with the 1TB SSD, so I haven't felt the need to upgrade my storage quite yet. But honestly, you just have to be logical about this, and if the place where the SD card slot gets super piping hot, I wouldn't be surprised if that thing starts cooking up other people's SD cards pretty soon. Now, this is a problem that even the ROG Ally face, and it's a reason why it gets a lot of criticism, I feel like, and even Asus admitted it, that the thermals were getting kind of bottlenecked in that area of the SD card, and it was actually bending and making that area malfunction. In some cases, it was even actually frying people's SD cards. But one of the things that the ROG Ally does have, and it's very famously known for being like a stealth ninja silent machine. And honestly, after using it, like, yes, you can hear the fans, but nowhere near how loud the Steam Deck and the Legion Go get. Like, the noise level of the Ally, it's super quiet. I'm actually super impressed because I thought people were just hyping it up, but after using it, I can definitely vouch for it, guys. far as the UI in both of these systems, although it is very important, I personally don't see it as an end-all be-all deciding fact. But I do have to give credit where credit is due, and the Armory crate, which is the ROG Ally's UI, is super well optimized. But the thing is that that wasn't the case when this thing first came out. That thing was, it kind of sucked. Now what Asus did is that they actually put their ear to the ground and they listened to what the feedback was, and they definitely made a lot of improvements to get it to where it's at now. And as of right now, the UI for the Legion Go, aka the Legion space, you can tell that this UI definitely is not the best, but you can also tell that Lenovo is also listening to the feedback of the consumers and adding in those improvements to make the UI way better. Another reason why I say that UI doesn't really matter is because at the end of the day, I believe if you run Steam in big picture mode, that's like the best UI you can have. It's so good. That's one of the things that the Steam Deck did amazing. If you're looking for a dedicated handheld PC, then the Asus ROG Ally is something that you should definitely consider. From the ergonomics, the portability, and just how everything is designed, it just makes it feel like a strict handheld PC. Like, it can do other stuff, but I think that thing just shines more as a handheld PC, and that's why I think it's amazing. The Lenovo Legion Go delivers those same gaming capabilities as the ROG Ally, but it also offers a wider use case scenario. You can use the Legion Go as a tablet. You can even emulate the whole mouse and keyboard experience by the use of the FPS mode in the actual controllers of the Legion Go. Now, the older I get, the more I appreciate when an item or a device is able to offer you more flexibility with how you can use it. Now, I'm definitely not one of those everything needs to be super effective and optimal crazy people, but a little extra efficiency definitely makes it feel like my money went a longer way and I got more in return for what I actually spent. Now, this is why out of both of these handheld PCs, I think the one I'm going to decide to stick with is the Lenovo Legion Go. Not because I think the ROG Ally sucks. I mean, I absolutely love that handheld as well, but the Legion Go just, to me, offers way more. At the end of the day, whichever one of these two devices you decide to purchase, either if it's the Asus ROG Ally for its dedicated handheld PC functionality, or if you decide to go with the Lenovo Legion Go for its gaming handheld capabilities, but also offers a little bit more of a wider use case, I think both devices are definitely worth it. So whichever one you go with, I don't think you're making any wrong decisions. So it's actually time to get rid of the ROG Ally. Regardless, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts down in the comment section below, so please make sure to show this video some love. Actually subscribe also if you haven't done so already, like the video or share it to someone who is debating which one of these two devices to go with, and hopefully I can inform them on, you know, what would be a good decision or what would be a terrible decision. I don't know it all, but this is just fun. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video.